I like to believe that no matter what somebody is doing, if they can explain themselves, you typically are able to understand at least their rationale for why they are doing it. This is probably because when I was a little kid watching a documentary on the History Channel, because I was cool in elementary school, that documentary actually had something important on this subject. It was a former CIA operative or something talking about all of the people that they were ever operating against. Nobody ever actually thought they were the bad guy. Everybody had a reason for doing what they were doing and a justification and thought they were the good guy in their own story. But apparently that CIA agent never met this coach in Wales. This guy manages in the North Wales Coast West Premier League, according to this Reddit post. According to the club's actual website, it's the North Wales Coast West Premier Division, so huge discrepancy there. I don't know if I can trust anything anymore. But the point being, this is an incredibly small league, right? Small local league on the north coast of Wales. I mean, we're talking about the league that is the tier 4 and 5 of the Welsh league system, right? The top tier of the Welsh league system is still almost exclusively semi-pro. Last time I checked, it had one professional team in it called the New Saints that makes itself feel better by beating up on a bunch of semi-professional people. The New Saints is also located in England, just across the border from Wales, but because it combined with another club inside Wales, it was able to participate in the Welsh League system, making these guys giant assholes. I just never liked the New Saints. It just feels like they're bullying people. And I need people to know about it. But they're not involved in this story. I'm just going off on the New Saints because of my own football manager trauma, and they screwed me out of stuff for years. But this coach, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is far worse than the New Saints. You see, the guy in question is a coach for, I would assume that's Amlwch Town, right? It's Wales, so it's probably pronounced like McDonald Town or something. I don't know. They just find crazy ways to pronounce things that look fairly simple to say. And this is in a match where Amlwch Town is getting its butt kicked, right? This is not a particularly good club at this level, right? Last year they finished 14th out of 15 teams, as you can see on their Wikipedia page. I would love to confirm more of this sort of stuff, but the club website doesn't even work. I guess somebody forgot to pay the fee to keep the thing running. I don't know, but everything just highlights the kind of low level that this league is at, that this team is at, to the point where you're sitting there going, you want to win, but it's just not that important. Like, at least when you're talking about the Premier League or the Champions League or Bundesliga or La Liga or even the Championship or whatever, right? Even though it is never a good idea to do anything heinous or bad, it is that important. Those are the types of events that people are talking about being more important than life itself. And you still don't have anybody doing anything as stupid as this coach did. So Amlwch Town is losing. They end up losing this game 8-0. I couldn't tell you if they were losing this game 8-0 or not by the point that this clip happens. But our main character is this dude, this rather large man in all black, right? He's looking menacing. He's got a nice Emperor Palpatine waltz to him. And the linesman, who, let's be entirely honest with ourselves here, is looking about 16 years old. Probably because he's a linesman getting paid $50 to do this game, if he's lucky, in the 4th or 5th division of the Welsh pyramid, right? So we don't know what happened before this, but it's time for the moment of truth, because our Sith Lord of a man here is going to waddle his way over to this linesman who's just trying to get out of high school and legitimately sucker punch him straight in the jaw. That's it. No follow-up. He just kind of backs away. There's no explanation offered. Immediately, the 15 people that are in attendance at this game and the other coaching staff and everybody just goes, hey. I mean, this is the equivalent of McDonald's for getting you, to give you your fries or something, and you light the restaurant on fire. That's basically the type of noise that everybody in the stadium is making. Sure, maybe this kid made a bad call. It's the 4th division of Wales, right? If you want to pay the referees more so that you can have actually professional referees, then by all means do it. But I feel like I'm getting a bit away from the point here. If you got an inch of injustice and you gave the whole illegal mile. I don't know how the laws work in the UK, right? And I don't barely know how they work in the United States. That's assault, dude, brother. This is a crime. This isn't a red card. You can't just walk up to somebody and punch them. And also, if we're talking about a 16-year-old kid, if you want to be all big and tough and square up with a dude and be like, yeah, that's your problem. You sucker punched a child from behind, right? He might be 18. He might be a little over 18, but it's easy to tell with all 5 of these pixels, right? That there is a large age discrepancy between the linesman and between the coach that happens to be involved in this particular instance, right? Like, this is a crime and it's bitch made. This is a bitch move, right? Like, even if, right, I'm going to try and come up with the craziest hypothetical ever, right? This linesman is talking crazy trash. Like, he is insulting your dead mother sort of trash. And you are like, this will not stand. We must have fisticuffs, which honestly, I feel like there's always a way to settle something without literally needing to try and knock the linesman out during a match, right? I like to believe that in humanity, there's a way to not do that in the first place. But even in the most justified situation possible, to sneak up behind the guy, like what are you doing? He plans this. I feel like I'm watching Planet Earth. You need David Attenborough commentating this guy stalking the linesman. This was not a crime of passion. This was premeditated assault of the linesman. He lets him walk by, waits for him to turn away. Watch what I'm talking about. Welcome to the Serengeti Plain of North Wales. Now here we have a fine specimen of a Welshman as he plods along the grass, searching for his prey. Unbeknownst to him, it is approaching from behind. The prey is in sight. He must wait in the shadows until the perfect moment to strike. Unfortunately, the prey has no idea what's about to happen. He springs into action and delivers the killing blow. I mean, he sets this whole thing up. Like, even if there's some incident that caused this, and there is clearly in this guy's own mind some incident that justified this absolutely ridiculous, absurd, illegal, just punching of a random kid at this match, right? He waited a long time. It makes no sense. How do you get, to me, if your brain is sanctioning this action, right? We've got SpongeBob SquarePants up there running around lighting everything on fire in this guy's brain, right? And yet somehow it is still getting rubber stamped to do this. How do you become the coach of any team? Ever? How do you get this far in life without having ended up with charges? I don't know who this guy is, right? But like, how are you a functioning human being if the justified answer that gets spit out of your brain in this situation is this one? Ever, in any circumstance. You're in a position of power here, not a huge position of power, right? But you're in charge of the team, especially at the lower level. It's not like there's a lot of executives that are ahead of the manager in the 4th Welsh division, right? This guy is in some sort of position of power. He's been there for a couple of years. I know because I looked up their coaching team, right? And none of the articles, because of the UK, will confirm which of these guys it is. Right. But this coaching team is still in place, according to their Wikipedia. Right. It's these couple of guys. And they were hired last season. So this guy went through a whole season where they finished second to last, and he didn't deliver any blows, right? I would assume, unless they're sweeping it under the rug, right? There's a giant cabal trying to preserve this guy's violent tendencies in the 4th Welsh division. But I'm going to give you the immediate audio reaction to all this. So I'm going to turn the audio up here because I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. And then listen to the reaction. And I'm just so curious as to what's happening. Everybody is shocked. And the dude that delivers the punch just kind of backs away and nothing happens. Now, I'm going to be honest, I heard a lot of words there that vaguely sounded like English, and I didn't understand what any of them meant. I'm going to need to bring in a Welsh translator to actually figure out what's happening here. The rest of the video is much of the same thing. It's this giant scuffle, and they kind of just keep going on playing even though the linesman's been kind of scuttled away. I don't even know necessarily how that's possible. I don't know how the results played out in terms of the rest of the match, in terms of the disciplinary things. I don't know if they threw the guy out. I would assume that if you look over and your linesman's got a busted lip and is looking like he just got hit in the face by a 2x4, right, then you're probably going to issue a red card to the person everybody else in the stadium is accusing of punching him. But we don't know. What we do know is that the team lost 8-0. And what we also know is the police are now investigating an alleged assault. I love how we have to use the word alleged here. Like, what's the allegation? I understand the need for innocence until proven guilty, but sometimes things feel a little too cut and dry, right? I want to be very clear. I can't 100% confirm that this is the coaching staff that's still in place, right? Their website doesn't work. I'm just kind of depending on a few articles, and everything I can find says that those guys are still the coaches of the team, but I just want to be very clear. There's absolutely no way to 100% confirm that it is even one of these guys. They could all be the 5 nicest guys you've ever met. But we have to go off of what we basically have, and I was just making a rhetorical point about the fact that I think this coaching staff has at least been in place for a little bit of time. But the guy that runs the FA of Wales, Noel Mooney, he said there's no room in football for this. I would assume the hammer, the fist of goodness, the hammer of justice, the long of the law is going to come down incredibly hard on whoever this guy actually is. And good. This guy doesn't belong within 500 feet of a stadium. Don't let him anywhere near any other human being for a year. Make him go live in the woods and talk to deer, and then see if he can politely act around human beings again without becoming randomly violent and surprise attacking teenagers from behind. That seems like a good way to handle this situation. I had already finished recording this, but there's more. I found a tweet where it was tweeted out by Mark Webber, who's a football reporter for the BBC, and he did say the lineman was 17. And not only was the lineman 17, he was a sub for one of the teams standing in to run the line. So this is a lineman that stepped in to run the line. I also want to make another thing clear. I'm not entirely sure which team's bench this is. I just assumed based off the team that lost 8-0. If the team that won 8-0 was delivering a punch like this, I think we might need to do some sort of psych check on the entire club. But in fairness, the club that won 8-0 is Penrhydderdraith. So that one right there, that's the team that won 8-0, just in case it happens to be their bench. The most important thing is that there is a guy that did this. That is by far the most important thing. 17, dude.